couple seconds. Hi, it's Jan Hamning. I'm here with my colleague, EFT colleague, Karin Goldgruber. She lives in Canada, and she was very kind to volunteer for a brief tapping session to help all of you. Basically is what this is to help everybody out there that views these videos that are dealing with frustrations and their eating habits, especially now during COVID-19. And Karin had reached out and said she would love to do this brief recording. So just to explain, if you have not washed your hands, please do not tap on the face points. We have both freshly washed our hands. So during this COVID-19 time, it's really important to make sure your hands are clean before you start tapping on your face. So we will tap on the face points because I checked in with Karin before we started the recording. So Karin, what is going on with your eating habits right now?
What I have noticed is that I continue to eat when I am full. Like I notice that I'm full, but I just keep on eating. It's like, yeah, it's like almost like I'm out of control.
Okay, so you continue to eat even though you feel you're full. You notice you're full.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any particular times when you notice that this comes up, that you notice that you're full, or is it all the time when you're eating?
I'm pretty good when I'm eating by myself, but if there's my family around and we're eating together, I notice that I just keep on eating.
Okay. Would you have any clue why? Do you like just any type of intuition of why you would do that with family around?
I think, and that would be going back as a kid, that if you were eating, you were allowed as a kid to stay at the table. If you were, especially if we had visitors, the minute you were done eating, you were sent off, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, it's interesting when we think about it. It's like, well, do you have any idea where this comes from? Sometimes if we think about it. So that's interesting. So did you say you feel frustrated with this behavior?
I feel frustrated and kind of like that I'm not having control, because I know I'm full and I know I'm still making the choice to continue eating, if that makes any sense.
Okay. So when you say, you know, there's frustration there and not having control, a lack of control, out of those two feelings, which one would be higher, like a higher charge on what we call the SUD scale, subjective units of distress of 0 to 10? Which one would be higher, you think?
I would say the frustration, and it's at a 6.
Okay, a 6 on a scale of 0 to 10.
Yes.
And so just so all of you out there know that when you start pinpointing what emotion you're feeling, you do want to rate it on a scale of 0 to 10, just so you can have some measurement of it. So after you tap, you remeasure it and see if it's come down or gone up or stayed the same. So the frustration's about a 6. So do you sense this frustration anywhere in your body? Does it sit anywhere when you think about it?
Excuse me.
In your throat, maybe.
Actually, it's in my throat. And I was just thinking, it feels like a big dumpling in my throat.
Great, a big dumpling in your throat. And did you grow up on dumplings? Karin
We had
grew
lots
up
of
in
dumplings,
Austria.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Savory and sweet.
Savory and sweet. Okay, so it feels like a big dumpling in your throat, and it's frustration. So we're going to start the tapping, and we're going to start on the side of the hand. And you know the points, and you know the procedure here.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm frustrated.
Even though I'm frustrated.
And it feels like a big dumpling in my throat.
It feels like a big dumpling in my throat,
representing frustrated.
representing a frustration.
Yeah, it's frustration in my throat over my eating habits.
Frustration in my throat over my eating habits.
And I deeply and completely
And I deeply and completely
accept myself anyway.
accept myself anyway.
And now if something doesn't sound true to you, then make sure you interrupt me and you correct me, okay?
Okay, I will.
Even though I'm feeling frustrated in my throat.
Even though I'm feeling frustrated in my throat.
It's like a big dumpling stuck in my throat.
It's like a big dumpling stuck in my throat.
And it's about a number 6 on the scale.
It's about a 6 on the scale.
And I accept how I
it's a
feel
big
at the
dumpling.
moment. This big dumpling. And I accept how I feel at the moment.
And I accept how I feel at the moment.
Even though I'm feeling frustrated in my throat.
Even though I'm feeling frustrated in my throat.
This big dumpling in my throat.
This big dumpling in my throat.
I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel.
Accept myself and how I feel.
Frustration in my throat.
Frustration in my throat.
Frustration in my throat.
Frustration in my throat.
This big dumpling in my throat.
This big dumpling in my throat.
Frustration in my throat.
Frustration in my throat.
Frustration in my throat.
Frustration in my throat.
Feels like a big dumpling in my throat.
Feels like a big dumpling in my throat.
This frustration 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 in my throat.
Okay, so now when you think about the frustration, how's that dumpling in your throat?
It's smaller. It was a big bread dumpling, and now it's about this size. So it's much smaller.
And how big, how would you describe that size? The size of?
Before it was like this.
Okay. And what, like the
Like
size
a big
of?
grapefruit.
Okay.
And
That's
now
what
it's
it was. And now what would you describe that size as? A golf ball of
it's, for me, it's an apricot dumpling. That's
okay.
what I see.
Apricot dumpling. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. And on a scale of 0 to 10, how high is the frustration?
3.
Okay, so it's come down quite a bit. Has
I
anything else come to mind while we were tapping?
No, I just noticed how I want to go like this there, but otherwise, no. I just noticed how it got smaller and smaller, and that I was able to breathe lighter as well.
Okay, we're going to go into a second round of tapping on the remaining. And anybody tapping along with this, write down that measurement. Where's that emotion that you feel? And, you know, describe it. Do you visualize a picture or a color or a shape with that emotion? And you'll just take your own notes. And now we're going to go into the second round. Even though I have this remaining frustration in my throat.
Even though I have this remaining frustration in my throat.
It's a smaller dumpling.
It's a smaller dumpling.
I would describe as an apricot dumpling.
What I would describe as an apricot dumpling.
It's gone down on the scale.
And I accept how I feel.
Okay, and we'll go to that. And I accept how I feel. Even though I have this remaining frustration.
Even though I have this remaining frustration.
It's an apricot dumpling in my throat.
It's an apricot dumpling in my throat.
And I deeply and completely accept myself.
And I deeply and completely accept myself.
Even though I have this remaining frustration in my throat.
even though I have this remaining frustration in my throat.
And now it's an apricot dumpling in my throat.
And now it's an apricot dumpling in my throat.
I completely accept myself and how I'm feeling at the moment.
And I completely accept myself and how I'm feeling at the moment.
This remaining frustration.
This remaining frustration.
This apricot dumpling in my throat.
This apricot dumpling in my throat.
Frustration that I continue to eat when I'm not hungry.
Frustration that I continue to eat when I'm not hungry.
This remaining frustration.
This remaining frustration.
That I continue to eat even when I'm not hungry.
That I continue to eat even when I'm not hungry.
This remaining frustration in my throat.
This remaining frustration in my throat.
I continue to eat and I know I'm not hungry.
I continue to eat and I know I'm not hungry.
And that's so frustrating.
And that's so frustrating.
This remaining frustration in my throat.
This remaining frustration in my throat.
That I continue to eat when I'm not hungry.
That I continue to eat when I'm not hungry.
And I have noticed it's when my family's around.
And I noticed that it happens when my family is around.
And not when I'm alone.
Not when I'm alone.
Just when my family is around eating with me.
Just when my family is around eating with me.
This remaining frustration.
This remaining frustration.
This apricot dumpling in my throat.
This apricot dumpling in my throat.
Okay. Now we could have gone and continued to do another round of that, and we probably could have come up with a lot more, but just kind of keeping it surface level things on these recordings. And so Karin, just check in with your body and check in with your throat. How does it feel right now?
It's lighter, I can swallow, I can breathe better than before.
Oh, good,
good. And I was thinking is, just through the round is like, well, nobody can send me away from my table after I'm done eating.
Nobody's pushing me away.
Exactly, so I can stop eating and I don't have to continue eating to be allowed at my table.
Yeah. So when you check into that emotion of frustration that you were feeling, what number on the scale would that be, or has it shifted to something else?
Actually, as we were talking now, at the end of the round, it was a cherry, but as we were talking, the cherry just made bloop, and it's gone. So
Frustration's completely gone?
Yeah, and I feel like kind of excited of noticing the next couple meals, like being aware when I'm full, and then making the decision to stop, or if I just have another bite, if I really like it or not. Like then, yeah, whatever happens then.
That's great. That's excellent. Karin, Karin's specialty with EFT is working with highly sensitive people. If you're an HSP and you're looking to get some help with that, Karin, you want to let people know how they can reach you?
Yeah, my Facebook page is Next Step Coaching, and my website is karingoldgruber.com.
Great. Karin, thank you. Thank you for doing this video. And if anybody else would like to volunteer to do a brief video with me, feel free to reach out to me on my Facebook page that this will be posted, or you can reach me at janhamning.com or nevertoolatetolosetheweight.com. Thanks, Karin, and I'm sure we'll be tapping again soon.
Same here, thanks.
Thanks.